Thank you. Okay, like I said, we got that. There will also be time, if you have like anything that you need to give feedback on or ask about at any point during what's going on, like feel free to raise your hand and do so. If like you see something that is said wrong or that you disagree with or that you want to build on, anytime. There's not gonna be time, there will be time at the end, but there's just time built in for all that stuff. Okay, one of the key themes for St. Marcus overall in the past, well, I guess at least 3 years, is this concept of alignment. When you have an organization, a ministry that is the scale of St. Marcus, with a flourishing church congregation, a school with 3 campuses, 1,200 kids serving the whole community, and then a community outreach arm. Getting those 3 things aligned and on the same page just helps. Like we got this quote from a book called Traction. If you could get all the people in an organization rowing in the same direction, you could dominate any industry in any market against any competition at any time. So those 3, when you're that big, getting those 3 arms aligned is just like, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of intentional teaching about what alignment is and mobilizing it. And then within all those, there's all these like little arms that come out of it. One of which is, some of you maybe have participated in like the men's ministry or Donuts with Dad or stuff like that. Athletics would be another one of those that shoots out from our ministry. And so even then within the athletics, we have our 14 teams. I think we've got about 26 coaches right now for all grades from 4 to 8. We've got reserve teams, we've got top level teams, we've got everything in between, we've got beginners. We're traveling to West Bend today. We're playing here, we're playing against MCP, we're going to New Bern, we're going to Racine. Like, that's when alignment becomes like critical, when we're trying to do this and getting everybody rowing in the same direction. And so your feedback is going to be critical in that, and then what we're kind of offering out here is going to be critical to that. And that's why I'm recording this, to send out to those who couldn't make it as well. So we'll look at that. We'll wonder, like, what does it mean to dominate? So like, we're trying to dominate this market against this competition at whenever we want to. What does that look like to like dominate in grade school basketball? If you're talking about 4th grade girls, are you trying to dominate the other team and win 60-0? No, you're just trying to get everybody built up, improving, like as little setbacks as possible, so that in those 3 areas, character, spiritual, and just like basketball parts, that's what we're trying to dominate, like what we have and what we can control. To help us kind of do that, I got 2 vision statements. This one is the first for the athletics department, so that we can all like be aligned on what we're trying to do through basketball and the other sports that we have here. This one I wrote on my own without help, and so it is a little wordy and it's a little convoluted, so you can maybe I'll try to narrow it down. But so the vision is that all of our athletes are trained in their minds, bodies, and souls to the point where they have the opportunity to earn a spot on a high school team in the sports that fit their individual interests and abilities. And along with that, they become young men and women of Christian character in and out of sports. So basically, we're trying to get them to the next level, whatever that is. B team to A team, A team to high school, especially nowadays. If you went to MPS, it's a little different now with getting just spread out to places like Wisco, Martin Luther, just all these various other places that are kind of taking the place of what MPS was in the 80s or in the 90s, because it's just a little different now. So are they going to be prepared to go into these environments, or at MPS, wherever they go, to be reliable, to show up to tryouts on time, to know when things are, to not get in a fight in the locker room during their tryout periods, things that will like prohibit them from being on a team. Also, are they going to be good enough? Do they know what sport fits them? Are they committed to playing basketball at the expense of, you're actually probably a football player or something like that? So that's what we're just trying to get them to the next level. From a St. Marcus perspective, as a whole ministry, so that we can get aligned with that, we are a national model of biblical living, individual and community transformation, and exceptional educational outcomes. We are salt and light for the glory of God. That applies directly to our sports teams as well. The sports one is a little narrowed in a longer way, and this is just, we're salt and light out in the world to God's glory, whatever we do. Okay, what does success look like from this meeting? I hope, by the time we're done, I hope you feel equipped and empowered to either continue in the good things that you're doing, to improve at what you would like to improve at, or to know that you have resources here for that. To create greater basketball program alignment between all the teams and all the different coaches and levels that are here. And for you to give feedback so that we, as administration, can answer some essential questions that we kind of have that we're mulling over that are not like actionable at this moment, but they're like bigger picture down the road things that we're continuing to look at. And then outcomes that you can just take immediately is we want to maximize Christian representation at our games and in our practices, which starts with you, starts here and goes to you and goes out. And that our teams achieve their competitive greatness, whatever that looks like for that team. If you are a team and, so like if you're a team that has a chance, that has the ability, that has the players, that has the structure to go to state and go to nationals, that's what we want you to do. And like, that is a goal. If you're a team that is maybe 5th or 6th grade that doesn't have a state tournament, or maybe you're 7th and 8th grade team that doesn't have that like experience and ability level yet, what's your competitive greatness that you can achieve? And if you ever see like the John Wooden pyramid, I don't have any of them. I don't know what any of them are, except for I know the top is competitive greatness. Coach, do you have them?
They're all right.
You don't need to go through them all, but just that phrase, competitive greatness, is just like, that's an individual thing for where you're starting from. I try hard to make sure that you coaches have the resources, the things that you need to be successful, and that's like when I sent out that feedback form that most of you filled out, you indicated that you feel like you pretty much have what you need as far as like facilities, time, space, materials, schedules, things like that. And you're also comfortable with like the school expectations of like what the grade requirements are and the demerits, and it seems like you are all on board with that, which is great. And a lot of what we went through in our first meeting at the beginning of the year was related to that. And I appreciate the work that's gone into that. Now what we're trying to do is take the next step, go into the next level in your coaching journey, so to speak. And if you don't have what you need, let me know. I'll do my best to give it to you. But once we have those basics down, we're trying to get to the next level. So when we're talking about being aligned and trying to dominate, we kind of touched on that a little bit. I'm going to make you share it a little bit here, come up with some examples. And then going back to the St. Marcus vision statement of exceptional educational outcomes. I am interested in hearing from you, and we could just do like 3 or 4 things. What are some attributes of what an exceptional team would be? If you have any.
Positive encouragement.
Positive encouragement.
And tapping off of that is respect for your teammates.
Any others?
I'd say discipline.
Say resilient in the face of adversity.
I think these are awesome so far. I would take a couple more for sure.
Mental toughness, like not crying over everything, like melting down.
It kind of goes with resilience, right? These are things that we have to develop. If anybody got any more real quick, otherwise. And these are things that like have to get developed, right? They're an exceptional team. Why is it exceptional? Because like not everybody has this, right? And you can kind of tell the teams that don't have this, and you can even exploit the teams that don't have this, or become exploited if your teams don't have this. Yeah.
I'll throw one other one up there, official knowledge of rules.
Ooh. I like these, and I like that one, because it takes abstract things, which are totally needed and necessary, like resilience, right? That's just, you just know it when you see it. This is a super specific one too, know the rules. And I just had to kind of do that myself. I haven't actually started with this, but I've got I've never looked at these before, but I got my rule books here. Got the rule book here, I got the basketball handbook here, I got the officials manual here, and they're thick. Are you all sure you know all of this? I'm not saying all the officials that we have at our games know all of this, but if we know that kind of stuff, that just goes a long way to being sure that you're right, or that you can just, like, knowledge creates just like a sense of earned confidence in those situations. So yeah, it's a good one. I got a list of 10 here, but I think you took at least half of them. So a clear purpose and goals, and like I said, I see a lot of these happening already, so I'm not like just trying to like say, you need to do this more. But these are things that gotta be developed. So clear purpose and goals. Your team or you understand what the mission of the game is, it understands what the mission of the entire season is, or the program, or whatever. It's clear and it's purposeful. Strong leadership. Not only is that you leading your team, but maybe it's like identifying somebody on your team who's gonna be that person on the court that takes that leadership role in a way that is your voice on the court. And not like in a yelling at kind of way, but I'm the one that's like, can be counted on. Effective communication, so your team members listen and they share ideas and they resolve conflicts constructively and don't yell at each other like we kind of set up there. They trust and respect each other. Big time, earning trust with teammates, earning trust with officials and coaches. Accountability, adaptability. You can plan for a game. You don't know what's going to happen. Like something, you could get down, you could get up by 20. Say, oh man, okay, now we have to play different. You have to play a little different. We can be down by 20. Maybe you got to play a little different. Or so being adaptable. Collaboration and teamwork. You leverage each other's strengths. I know I'm not the scorer, but I can give it to the scorer. Stuff like that. And commitment to growth. How do you end every practice, coach? What do you say at the end of every practice?
You're gonna have to help me.
What's the 2-word Buzz Williams phrase that you say at the end of every practice? Oh no, this is yours.
This is gonna be a tough one.
Get better.
Get better.
Get better. Get better.
That's the hallmark head coach, right?
Yep. Positive culture, and then lastly resilience, which we touched on. So yeah, thanks for taking pictures of those. At this point, so that's like just framing what we have going on. Now's the time for Mr. Tyson to come up and just touch on some of the things, A, that I missed that we talked about before, and B, just like the whatever he wants to talk about.
All right, well, I will be hopefully the briefest of everybody. I want to thank everybody for being here. I also want to thank you as coaches.
Do you need to plug in here?
No, because I saw in Seth's email that he just feels great about where our program is at and about where our coaches are at. The interesting thing about our coaches is we have some folks who have been around a really, really long time and understand who we are at a really deep level. And then we have folks who are newer to the program. But overall, when Coach speaks like that, that means a lot. And then I've got a child in the program. He's on Felix's, Miss Isaac's team. And I see the amount of time and energy that you guys put in just in that one team and the impact. And you all are doing that with your team. So thank you for the way that you pour in. my whole job, right? So if you don't know me, I've now been here 23 years. I'm the superintendent. I've come to realize that slide that Seth had up earlier with alignment. Now that we're 3 campuses, with 180 staff members, my whole job is creating alignment. Can we keep everybody moving in the same direction with the same purpose? And to the extent that we create alignment, we will either be successful or not be successful as a school. And I, over my 23 years, have seen school after school fall apart. And you'd be amazed how often it happens. Churches and schools just fall apart. At the end of the day, it's because there's a lack of alignment. And so I view that as my sole job. Can we together share so my job is to make sure that every program that we have is aligned to our core values. What are our core values? Go ahead, yell one out.
Biblical discipleship.
Okay, good. Biblical discipleship, that's number 2. Okay, give me another one.
Radical expectations.
Radical expectations, that's number 4. Biblical discipleship, radical expectations, we're missing 2. What's the first one?
That's first.
Christ first, okay? Christ first.
Sacrificial love.
Sacrificial love, biblical discipleship, radical expectations. I love the fact that our staff members know it. I gotta tell you, it's been really hard even to get our staff to know and be able to articulate back, these are the things, these are our core values. But if we're not aligned around a commitment to the core values, and we agree on what it means, what it looks like in the nitty-gritty details, the organization is gonna fall apart. And so the question why I just want you to know why I am here tonight and why athletics. Like, why is the superintendent suddenly zeroed in on athletics? I want to be transparent with you guys about why, okay? Here are the reasons. Our athletic program perhaps has our biggest reach outside this organization of any programming we offer. There is nothing that we do that has a bigger reach in terms of interacting with others outside of the organization. And given the volume of teams, the reach is extraordinary. So when it comes to being salt and light, we can be salt and light when people walk in this building, but you know who 99% of people are who walk into this building? It's students, staff, and parents. That's 99%. In our athletic program, about 50% of the people we interact with have nothing to do with our school, right? By virtue of the fact that we're playing other teams. So that's one reason. It has this massive reach. Second reason is, I believe athletics is becoming increasingly challenging over time. When I look back to 23 years ago when I started, the feel of athletics, particularly because then we were just in this narrow, small Lutheran bubble, was completely different. And this is a national problem, right? Which would be my another aspect of the challenge. The state of youth sports in America. I don't need to tell you, you guys are all in it. We have a national problem well, for a while it was on airplanes. Remember how people were treating people on airplanes, and suddenly people getting thrown off airplanes because adult behavior had shifted. In youth sports, it's a massive crisis, which is why it's so hard to find referees. Perhaps you could speak to that, right? People just don't want to do it, okay? Third reason, I find, just like with the school, so our mission statement is to disciple children for Christ and train them in excellence. Most schools have one mission, just one. It's to train kids in excellence. We have 2 missions, to disciple and to train in excellence. And I feel what's really hard is helping people do both. Because we constantly, the school council, which is one of my bosses, are constantly talking to me about, are we doing both? And they're always worried that we're too focused on academics and not enough on discipleship. Same with athletics. Because in fact, we've got 2 aspects of our mission for athletics. One is discipleship, because that's the organization's mission. It's training in excellence. That's the mission of the athletics program. But it's also to win. Just like it's also in the school to get good academic outcomes, right? So what I'm saying is athletics is complicated, right? Final reason why it's a challenging area is because within our athletic program, it's one of the areas where we actually as a school have the least control, right? What is it about the athletic program that gives the school the least amount of control as compared to teachers or classrooms or? What do we have the most control over in the athletic program as a school? The students.
Yeah, just the student.
The students. We can decide who's eligible, who's not. We can bench people, right? We have total control over the students, right? Do we have total control over coaches? That's a touchy one, right? You're all coaches. To a certain degree, right? If as a coach you repeatedly don't live up to the core values, what's gonna happen? Well, what's gonna happen?
To move out of here.
Yeah, you're gonna be disinvited from coaching. Do we ever do it? No, because you guys for the most part are great, and it's really hard to find coaches, right? We have some control over coaches. Do we have control over athletes' parents? No, minimal, almost none. There is this raft of people, praise God, who shows up for every single game that we have almost no control over, right? And then finally, referees. Do we have control over that?
No.
That makes it immensely complicated because we end up in situations where there are referees we have zero control over. Do we have any control over the opponents?
Nope.
All I'm trying to communicate to you is I'm up awake at night thinking about athletics because in every other aspect of what I'm called to do as the superintendent, I have a high level of control. I can motivate, inspire, encourage, support, help grow, and at the end of the day, expel or terminate. Right? It's just a high control business, right? But in athletics, it's really not, right? We don't have control over everything, okay? So these are the reasons why I'm fascinated by athletic program. It's massive reach, it's challenging, it's such a challenging arena, and then finally there's two critical questions that I'm imminently facing. Question number one, and I just want to be transparent with you. Do we shrink or grow St. Marcus's athletic program?
That's the question.
Yes, that's the question I'm facing. Do we do more of it or do we do less of it? Why?
It's just the opportunity given for the kids.
Yeah.
Great opportunity for kids.
Especially for each campus, I should say.
Okay,
And like you said, it's the reach. So for my kids, they go to the Burlock campus.
yeah,
And I've personally been in between wanting to switch them here because I felt like it was more opportunity.
Yeah.
Granted, the Burlock campus, I feel really close to the staff because I've been a part of it since it's open.
yeah,
But just the reach in general to kids and parents.
yeah.
Is a lot of opportunities through sports, whether it be scholarships or, like you said, just playing against other
Yeah.
schools and getting ready for the next level.
Totally. Great reason to do more of it. And you'll notice, like if you look at both the budget and the number of teams and the number of coaches, we've dramatically expanded the program, right? Critical question on my desk tomorrow for the budget for next year is, do we need another athletic director? Because we've now got 3 campuses, right? Okay? It's tens of thousands of dollars. Why do some colleges not do any athletics?
Funding?
There's truth to both of those, but it's not the fundamental reason.
Commitment.
Which is based on what? What does the board of directors decide in some colleges? We are going to do athletics or we're not going to do it?
Doesn't fit with the mission of the school.
Mission and vision of the school. So here's what I want to say to you guys, coaches, other than thank you for what you did. The school council is facing imminent questions. Do we grow and expand our athletic program because it's great for kids? Or do we reduce it, either because it's just not financially sustainable, or because it's not leading us towards our mission? And this is why you all are so important. Because I just expressed to you how we have limited control over a basketball court with everybody who's in that room, that it is absolutely imperative that what we are best at is through our athletic program discipling kids and being salt and light to the community. And if the athletic program is doing that, the school council is going to say, fund it, grow it, do more of it, right? So I'm literally imminently wrestling with this question because he's grown it. Seth, as the athletic director, has put it on steroids, and we're now asking the question, was that right? And do we continue that move? So the two critical questions are, should the athletic program be expanded or reduced? And then secondly, are our athletic programs practically in the way that we experience them aligned with our core values? That second question determines the first question. This is like my superintendent hat and why I'm engaged here, because our athletic programs become so big and so vital to who we are, for the sake of kids, but also for who we represent in the community. That's all I've got. Does anybody have any reaction or comment to that question?
So, do you feel that it's growing? Because you're asking the question, so I guess I'll throw it back to you, because you are the superintendent. Do you feel that the athletic department, the way we're going right now with it, that it is growing? Because for me, to answer that question, I feel it is. And the reason why I say that is because even like today, after our game, you have people and other coaches coming up just talking how positively about our kids and pretty much the talent and just the respect and everything else, how they follow directions, they're good. So for me, every time we go, we represent St. Marcus, so I feel we're growing. But in order for us to continue to grow, we need the support from staff. I say management because of the field that I'm in. We need that support. So when we're out there, in order for us to grow as well, is that we have support, that we're supporting each other. That's the only way, because it's not just the kids growing, we grow as well. And that's what we tell our boys, is that we're in this together. You guys are gonna teach us stuff this whole season as well. We're not here to say we're better, we're here to grow together. So, is it growing? Yes, it's gonna continue to grow because people are seeing it. They wanna know who we are. So in order for us, we have to know that our management, our team support us as well, and that we all wanna grow together.
Yeah, I mean, it has been growing. I envision it will continue to grow. There are, however, evident challenges. It's why I went through the 4 big challenges. Those are the questions that we've got to face. And so I think but that's partly why these conversations are so important, that we're zeroing in on what is our program really about, right? Because a lot of the fact of the matter is that a lot of his time, and increasingly some of my time, is being dedicated to some of the more challenging side of the program, right? And I'm an extremist, our last radical expectations. I feel personally incredibly passionate that our athletic program has to be in every way salt and light. And we have to be bringing our best. Even, this is why I like this one to me, resilience in the face of adversity. That even when there are extreme challenges that our coaches or our students are facing on a soccer field or a basketball court or a volleyball court, that we're bringing salt and light. And in the way that we respond to that adversity, we're representing really, really well.
I would just make the comment of how critically challenging it is, to find coaches and all those pieces that go into it. Extremely challenging. And yet it is, having lived the data, watched the kids, worked with the kids, there is, a teacher impacts, the teacher impacts is the number one impact on a kid in a classroom. And you can multiply that, you can put a 0 on that. Every coach impacts a kid 10 times that.
Yeah.
And so it's just, I can't even put into words how critical it is what we're doing, despite all the various challenges.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
If you want to just get up, stretch a little bit, get something to drink, get something to eat, that'll be a good time. I'm gonna have Coach Ford come up next. Yeah, so if you're ready, if you are good, if you're good to keep going, we can keep going. But headed forward.
All right, everyone.
My pop says that, by the way. I just saw.
Pops is one of my,
Dude, I just saw him a couple weeks ago.
it was one of my first,
I know, I said, yeah.
Took care of
Well, you not go back, man.
Sundays at Wisconsin.
Yep. Go
Uh,
back a little bit.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ted Ford, basketball official. Been officiating for 27 years. So anybody have questions? I know it's a lot of questions about officials. Yeah, be free to ask. I'm with the Midwest Minority Officials Association. Been upstate 4 years. The last year, that Washington team, we had a gentleman that just passed away, E.T. Long. He was on that team. Mike Foster plays in the JV. He was on that team. It's funny, Mike played against Davis, who went to Wisconsin, played for lacrosse.
Davis brothers.
Those Davis brothers, we had that game.
Yeah. Against Jalen Johnson.
Oh, I had Jalen a million times. Like almost everybody who came through here. Tyler Hero dad recruited me for bar league football way back in the day. And it's a funny story with that. Whenever I would ref Tyler, his dad would talk about football at this age. And he just ended up getting better and better and better for basketball. But for 27 years, I've been an official. I sent some stuff over to Coach Cook the other day. He probably didn't know I was an athlete like I was back in the day. Hard-headed athlete, but got all the pictures, videos, we share them on Facebook all the time. When college coaches came calling, it's like, GPA buddy, stay in trouble, the whole nine. What can I do? The running back in front of me played pro ball. The running back behind me, Brent Moss, played for Wisconsin, got himself in trouble in Wisconsin. He played pro ball. So if you don't handle yourself, no matter how good you are, if you don't take care of business in the classroom, that can be a distraction. So when I see everything and speak, I speak from a couple of visions. You know, as a top-notch athlete, all-state running back, as an official that they like to call for big games or whatnot. I'll speak on both of those.
Here you go.
And also challenging from what we had a meeting about last time I was here. Things that can hurt a team. And as an official, and I'll talk to some of the college coaches when we do the AAU, and they look at players, does a player hustle? Does a player have bad body language? Does the player's parents, is that a problem? Always screaming at the officials, always screaming at the coach for not putting their kid in the game, always trying to coach the kid from the stands. And if the parent is the problem, no one wants to touch that kid. Same thing with all the other things. So that's one thing we need to look at also when we talk about everything that we put into a successful organization. One thing, what I stress knowledge, I'll try and give an example. And as a coach, parents also, we have plays that will be explained in the case book, but I'll show you how easy some of that stuff is as an official. See, we have Dale's corner playing St. Marcus. St. Marcus defender is right here in the paint, right by the basket. Dale's corner is going in for a layup. There's contact right here. St. Marcus player has his hands up. Who created that contact? That's easy to see, the Hale's corner player. I don't have a foul on St. Marcus. If I have a foul, it's Hill's corner player going into the St. Marcus player. St. Marcus player is right here, hands up, jump straight up and down, contact is right here. All right, we go on the other end. St. Marcus player going to the basket. Hill's corner player is right here. Shot attempt goes up, the Hill's corner player jumps. Shot goes up, there's contact right here. Who creates the contact? That's easy. The Hill's corner guy jumped over that line, so he jumped into the guy. I don't care if your hands are up, you're going for a layup, jumped into the guy. That's easy. It looks like it's the same play, but it's literally that easy that we see it as officials. Now, a problem may occur, because now Hill's corners, parents are going crazy. You didn't call a foul down there. Well, of course not. St. Marcus went straight up and down, verticality. Well, it's the same play down there. It's nothing close to the same play. That Hill's corner guy was not vertical. He jumped forward into that St. Marcus guy. It's not the same play. These are easy things. But as officials, we'll hear from the parents will go ballistic. And that's why I say sometime with knowledge comes in. And we can't be that parent that's overbearing and is always cause that distraction over something like that they may not understand. You know, because that may hurt the team, may hurt the players, may hurt the school. Because now another other school may say, look, Ted, every time you come here and your kid plays, you're out of control. If your staff can't fix that, we don't want your team back. You know, so as officials, we see this, but as parents, coaching staffs, you guys gotta help out sometimes. Like, look, the officials are doing the best they can. If there's a disagreement, you know, don't go off the deep end on that. Move on to the next play. But one thing, for the games that I officiated at this level, playing at this level, growing up, we didn't want to play nobody but the best. We play in Chicago, we didn't have AAU then, we just had center leagues playing in. Play against Chicago, we want to play the best. We play against Milwaukee, we want to play the best. Lloyd, whoever we played in the summer league. For football, we want to play the best. So our knowledge better be there. We better have discipline on the court, respect, positive. All of this right here, mental toughness. You know the game, you might have, that other team may be on a 10-0 run. You have to think, what can we do to get back in the game? You know, mental toughness. All of those things to be the best. If we're not schooling our kids or teaching our kids everything to be on this level, I feel we're doing a disservice. You know, and a lot of it is not complaining. A lot of it is knowledge, studying. If you're watching the games on TV, listen to what the announcer says. You know, I'm going to the best games in the city for high school, and I see how those kids play. I see how they hustle. I see the plays they run. I see what the referee calls, because you'll have the best referees. I see what the referee calls a foul and what he says isn't a foul. So that's I'm going off the top of my head, but that's the viewpoint I have coming from an official, coming from an ex-top athlete.
I got a question for you. Now, this knowledge piece seems really critical, really important. For parents and coaches and everybody, and even officials. What is some good ways to get as much knowledge as we can as coaches that haven't read the rule book, or maybe have, or to like give it to parents who haven't read the rule book? Yeah, what's the easiest way to
that
get
coach,
that and explain it?
that coach, one thing I have on my phone, we also have NFHS. That's a group on Facebook. That's all we do is go over rules. For coaches, every high school coach has to take a test, just like we have to take a test. The coach has to take the test also. And you'll have things in that video.
So I should give them a test?
Yeah, you should.
That's not our question. But even have them watch video, cause,
Yeah.
on one video slide, you literally have a silhouette with the guy holding the ball and the defender playing defense like this. Now, you say you want me, we need, more black officials upstate. Well, this black official, I have to call that a foul, it's right there. If I don't call that a foul, they won't consider me for state. It's on the slide, whoever is officiating this right here is a foul. It may look like it's ticky-tack. They don't want hand checking. I'm super quick, at least back in my day, so of course, someone trying to grab and hold me, that's helping the defense. What we look at as far as officiating is rhythm, speed, balance. And does the contact does the contact help the defender or the offensive player? That hand check will help the defender.
What was that first one you said?
Rhythm, speed, and balance.
Rhythm, okay.
So is that contact interfering once you go into the basket? Does that contact affect your rhythm, your speed, or your balance? Might be small, but throw you off, that's what that little small thing does. I would do a disservice if all of those things that the rules from up top are saying, make sure you call it, say simple, the silhouette, that's a foul. The guy was holding the ball and the defender's just like this, that's a foul. Simple stuff like that, we always say, when the city teams go upstate, we always get screwed, stuff like that. That's when that coach has to say, listen, the referee is gonna call this simple stuff. If you want me on that game, I gotta call that simple stuff. They got the video camera going. So that's when the coaches have to be like, listen, you guys have to understand these things. What I was gonna say with that, I can't think of it now, but you always have to prepare those players for that type of environment. What I was going to say is disservice. I would do a disservice if I let the game be played as if we was in a park over there. You know what I'm saying? Because now you feel like that's how we always play. Now when you go upstate, they call in every touch foul that they say call in the rule books. Now especially if it's all white crew. First thing, oh man, white guys, man, hey, that's bull. Everybody who officiates is gonna call from that, up top. So that's one thing we have to understand and let these players know. Like I say, I'll do a disservice by letting them just beat up on each other and just like we do in the park, So for the coaches to understand that knowledge that's coming from up top, that's big, that's huge. Because that's the National Federation telling us to call the game this way. And that's a big thing right there. I think I touched on everything I could right off the top of my head, but anybody have anything?
Appreciate your work, man. A lot of years and a lot of service. I know you and I have had a lot of games together.
We have, but it's been fun. The last couple of years, I work at the post office also. So the last couple of years, we're very short staffed. So I just been over there stacking up as much money for retirement. A friend of mine called me and said, look, I need you to come down to Chicago last summer for the girls tournament, the Nike National. I said, man, listen. He basically twisted my arm to come down there for the weekend. McCormick place. Dawn Staley was in the stands, Gino, every high major coach was there, the best talent was there. And I got to be on the court again with them. I've done it when we had an NY to LA back in the day, when everybody used to go out to Homestead. It's not like it used to be. But this was probably the first time in several years that I've been on that level to see all that. So like you say, this is great. At that point, it's great. And then at that point, everyone who's on that level, the coaches and the players know what the problem is. You know, if you go ahead and do the shot fake and I jump for the shot fake and you try and go around me, then I put my hand out and throw you off balance. I knew I messed up. I shouldn't have went for the shot fake. Now I'm trying to save myself by holding. You know, it's not the parents yelling at the officials, the coaches yelling at the officials. Everybody know the mistakes they're making because that's the highest level. That's where we're trying to get our kids also. You know, not just when I screw up, let's yell at the officials or whatnot. You know, but it's an honor to do those things or whatnot. Been doing it for a long time.
As far as coaches that are communicating with you as an official, what do you as an official respect the most in a coach communicating with you?
Ask questions. I mean, majority of officials are approachable. If you tell me, ask me what did I see, and I can explain it to you, we might disagree on that. But I'll give you my, you know, I saw the guy go for the pump fake and the offensive player was going around and I seen the defender put his hand out and throw the guy off balance.
Well, going off what he said, you talk to the refs and, you know, you try to kind of dialogue with them, you know, about what's going on. What if they're not approachable or disrespectful or ignore you or I coach, I ref, you coach type of thing?
There's some officials that are like that.
Not all. Probably
And-
like not 90% of officials okay. But,
And
you
the
get
one-
some of
You
them
get
that,
some.
The ones that are like that, that's a hard one. But that's when you know as a coach, this guy isn't
you gotta
one of those, so
need a bigger man in them.
yeah, because if I sit there and like, oh, so you wanna be like that, huh, you idiot? You're looking for a technique, you know, so, you just have to suck it up. I've had, I can remember one Sunday, morning, I was doing this league, and the signer, he wanted to get me in just for that, cause you always have a black and a white team. So I was one of those guys to say, okay, we can always pull him, you know. And, I'm getting heat from both of these coaches.
Yep.
Both of these coaches got a check. Both of these coaches know I don't like them now. They cut all that stuff out, they coach the team. So at the end of the game, you know, black team won, the coach said, he's still a prick. But he left me alone and he just straight coached his team. You know, if it turns to that, just make sure, all right, guys, look here, I tried to talk to the official. Seems like I can't communicate with him, so let's make sure, you know, you're not going for the pump fakes. Let's make sure you box out. Make sure you slide your feet, you
It's
know.
kinda how I did, started off today, I just wanted the kids like, same, like the stuff we went through on the hard games we had, we ready for like the fouls and, you know, the stuff we kinda got beat on and stuff I snapped about, so.
Right.
If I got them in line before the game, then like today it was smooth, right? I just probably yelled at them, but I didn't say one word to the rest today. In both games, so I'm like, okay.
And that's where we wanna get those kids. That's exactly where we wanna get those kids, you know? That's where like, I feel a lot of this has started from, that, instead of holding kids accountable, we'll yell at the official. Officiating could suck, but we'll still yell at
We
them.
can't do nothing about that, so.
Can't do nothing about that, but we can do something
Kids,
about it. Exactly.
Then I got a problem with like, cause I coach my son, so now I'm trying to separate the parent and the coach. So I catch myself, bad call, I turn it to a parent, I snap, and I'm like, dang, I'm the coach. I'll be like, okay. So I'm
Right.
learning that too, so it's kinda, I mean, I just really started serious coaching probably for 2 years, so I'm learning.
There you go.
What I can tell you, coach, is what me and coach specifically preach in practice, and well, I'm gonna say in practice, we'll tell them in the beginning of our scrimmages, we're gonna say, hey, we might foul you on purpose, and it might not get called. We are simulating what a game could be. And me and coach, we bump them around, like we miss calls, we call fake calls, and they argue back, and I say, you're not allowed to talk to the ref, you're not allowed to talk to the coach. So in the game, when we do it, all we say is no spill milk. We don't cry over spill milk. So we don't gotta say the don't cry part. We just say spill milk and they zip it. Like, we don't allow them to talk to the refs at all. And even if the game ain't going our way, the way we lead from that instance is by example. If the ref may not like us because we do complain, even though we haven't had a situation like that yet, we can't teach our kids not to cry about spilled milk if we on the sideline crying about it. So that's kinda how we lead.
Absolutely. And then the other part, to piggyback off of that, real quick, I don't wanna hog all the time. When I first started, this is probably what I was doing. You know, so I'm, I'm getting my feet wet. I wasn't the best official. Haven't seen that many plays. Once you guys get higher up, you start going, the more they're like, okay, it's the playoffs, okay, it's the championship. I won't be on that game. They'll find a better official, not that guy that just started off. But right here, you might find the guy that just started off.
Especially in elementary and middle school, so.
Exactly.
Just gotta show some grace.
Yeah, basically.
I was just gonna dig a little bit deeper on that as far as communicating with the official. I totally get what you're saying about asking questions. I think watching the coach of the other team, who may be jawing or yelling or hollering with the official, and then it seems 3-4 plays later, they get a questionable call that goes their way, right? How much would you say, quote unquote, working the officials actually causes an outcome on the game that a play goes that way for the ref who's just nonstop jawing, yelling, complaining, crying over spilled milk?
Yep, spilled milk. Younger officials could get influenced. But probably, like I say, the higher up you get, we'll first off, we'll let that official know, hey, knock that off. We don't need to hear that's nonsense or whatnot. The second, he's not gonna influence anything with us. If anything, he might piss one of the veterans off, like, all right, he's over there crying too much. Well, I really look this way now.
Yeah.
Oh, this happened over here. I'm watching this play over here, coach.
If you see the ref is missing some calls and you like pull him to the side and talk to him, like I see a lot of like jersey tugging or something like that the ref is missing. Does that help? Like, do they take that into consideration?
Yes, absolutely, because we don't see it all. If you say, hey, every time my big man is going through the lane, 17 is grabbing him. Now, on a high school level, I do it easily. I'm like, 17, are you grabbing number 2 when he goes through the lane? The whole gym hear me, he hear me. Man, no, I don't. So now everybody know when your big guy goes through the lane, everybody's watching 17. So he knows he's clean. I'll put him on blast playfully. That's what I'll do. But it's always good that you'll let that official know that also. There's nothing wrong with that at all. That helps out a lot, especially in a respectful manner.
Yeah, say it not to.
Yeah, not like I'm an idiot.
Make them mad.
Yeah, All right, besides that, I don't wanna take up all the time, but hopefully I was helpful to a capacity or whatnot.
Amen, brother.
Yes.
Thanks, Ted. Appreciate you. Thanks for jumping in there too.
We'll just go right into Coach Meyer. If you need to get up and get anything,
Now's the time.
just feel free to do so. I'll just let him go.
When Hubie walked in, I know Hubie died this year, I don't know if you've been to a Hubie Brown, if you know who Hubie Brown is. I think the first time I talked to him was heard his coaching in 1979. We've used a lot of his different stuff over the years. He'd walk in and he'd say, I got 3 days worth of stuff we're gonna try to cram into 2
20
hours
minutes.
or whatever, we're gonna cram in. So I'm gonna try to leave a little time for questions. I did not do a lot of preparing here today. My day started at 2:18 this morning, has been grinding on Grass Ministries, and trying to get, there was 1,825 days ago, that I ran a practice in that gym right over there, and at 6 in the morning. And I've been grinding for 1440 for 1,825 days to get back to the position where you guys are at, okay? You have a special thing. The influence you have on our young people is unbelievable, unbelievable. And just a couple, Teddy and I go back a long time, and you've done a lot of my games. How many times have you ever heard me yell at you, Teddy? All the games I've coached. Have I ever yelled at you, ever in a game?
Animated on the sideline.
I mean, animated, driven, over the top, ridiculous.
Nothing disrespectful. Never, not once.
I've never had a technical foul, and I'm about as intense a coach as you will ever find anywhere in the entire world, okay? Let's begin with a prayer. Lord God, I come before you, just ask that you give me some words here tonight that will challenge us, that will encourage us, that will help us to understand that the hardest part about coaching is coaching ourselves. Help us take that in tonight and put that into action to your glory. And it is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Champion's mindset, and that's the front of this cover. I'm just trying to give you a couple things here as a framework. Started 1994. Graduated from Wisconsin Lutheran College. We got beat my first game that I coached. We got beat 48-2. And the only reason we scored 2 points is because one of my guys chucked it up and it somehow hit the top of the backboard, rolled around, and somehow fell in. Okay, that's coaching right there, 48-2. Second game we lost 40-10, and then we improved to 30 and 15. I can go on and on, but these are the things I remember, and then I can't remember. Get better. So it's, you know, this is the pattern of Hashimoto's brain and some of the different things that are going on. This started a long time ago, and just this last week, a book I published, or one of my chapter book that on just championship mindset, because get better now isn't just like some words on a board. It's every day trying to get better health-wise, trying to get better as a man, trying to get better as a husband, trying to get better so that the influence you can have isn't, you know, I've been working hard on getting myself better so I can influence and help other people. So you can have a major impact on our kids. When we started this thing, and we talk about rules, knowledge of rules, okay? Our girls team, we had a girl that was at church the other day, love her, so awesome, she was here. She was dribbling the ball, they dribbled it like right out of bounds, okay? They dribbled into the cafeteria because they didn't know like there's lines on the court. That's how we started. We went 20 years without having a player playing high school or in high school ball. It has, you know, what Seth's done and over the work, it's been incredible. Champion's mindset. Somebody take that first one. Letter C. Jump in there. Go ahead, somebody.
Christ Center.
Thank you.
Matthew 6:33.
Yep. Go ahead and read it.
Seek first his kingdom and all his righteousness, and all of these things will be given to you as well.
Okay. Starts there. Okay, starts in our heart with the Lord. Hardworking. I'll just be real with you. When one of the first times I met with Buzz Williams was the day Jimmy Butler came into town. And I asked what was the question I asked about today's meeting? What time
will that be there?
What time? No, yeah, how many people will be there and what time we having it, right? So Buzz is, if you have a clinic with him, it's always like most of my meetings with him been like 4 or 5 in the morning. Okay, that's the kind of intensity, and I'll put the PG-13 version on this, but he would say, write this down. And my mentor, my art mentor, talks about this all the time. Write it down, 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 write it down. It's been a huge growth area for me. Writing things down over and over and over again. But this is what he said to me. He said, outwork those MFers. Outwork them. Outwork them. It starts, you know, we can talk about the rest, we can talk about the coaches, we can talk about the parents, we can talk about all that stuff. You as a coach, what are you bringing to the game? You know, when we talked, what Teddy was talking about, one of the things is, and we call this the Harlem Globetrotters. Because you're right, Teddy. When you move west, I'll just say it that way, it's just different. It's just different. The expectations are different. Start that game, you gotta be up 10, okay? You gotta be prepared before. There's 1,440 seconds, okay, in each like the Nationals games, okay? You gotta be thinking about you got your 5 guys, that's 1,440 times 5, but it's all those seconds that are non-seconds of the game. That's really where you gotta be coaching, okay? You gotta coach before you get to that spot, right? And be hardworking. Man shall not work, he shall not eat. Take the next one for me, Josh.
Attitude, Philippians 2:5. Your attitude should be the same of that of Christ Jesus.
And what is that? If you finish that up, Philippians 2:5, what else is saying there? Having a mindset like Christ, what is that? What did he do? Philippians 2, what's he got?
I want to say, well, I don't know if that goes, but he gave up his
Yeah.
throne to come down and save us.
Yeah.
Humbled himself to become a man.
Humbled himself, became a man, became nothing
Yeah.
for us.
So it's like putting
Okay,
yourself
do
down.
your kids, do they know you will freaking die for them, that you are there for them through thick and thin? Do they know that? Because everybody talks about LOVE. Everybody talked that game. Are you there? Are you there? Mental toughness. 1 Peter 4:12 says, dear friends, do not be surprised at the painful trial you are suffering, as though something strange were happening to you. You talked about that resilience, Tyson mentioned. I mean, just how important that is. Being able to get back up. And I love what you're talking about, the spill milk, man. Bad call, bad call. We'd call. I mean, how many bad calls would we call in practice, guys? I mean, was there ever a good call? Like, ever in a practice? Like, we would never, ever. You were going to get, what, we put you through the fire, okay? Your boy knows.
I know.
I mean, perseverance. This is the one, just, you know, if you're going to wrap up one thing, this is the word that I would, you know, that I try to live true to each day, and that's just persevere. Okay, getting back up off that mat. When I was in that hospital bed and I couldn't walk and I couldn't talk and I couldn't do anything, man, I'm thinking about standing in front of you guys today. To stand here and stand in front of kids, stand in front of you guys, and be able to do it so that we can impact the people in our city that are hurting, the families that are hurting. This is bigger than ball, but it's that ball game, that game, the kids that, you know, that love it. You can do so much to impact. I know your girl over at Howard this week, and this was unprompted. I got a text from a kid from Washington, D.C. Love you, coach. Please play like one game for him. Love you, coach. It matters, the little things you do all the time. Improvement. There it is, get better. Jeremiah 29:11, go ahead and take that. Go ahead, grab it, coach. 29:11, got it?
Oh, me?
Thanks, bro.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future.
Okay. Everything works out for good, right? That day when I'm lying in that hospital bed and then going in another coma, 30 hours, 12 hours, 36 hours, you're hallucinating. You're not the same person you were. God's taken that. I'm going to be speaking at the Mayo Clinic in a few weeks. Talking about championship mindset. And it isn't, it's just living it, right? We all, you know, I say, I got a, you know, a lifetime subscription of issues, okay? We all got challenges that we're going through every day. Keep improving, get better, get better, get better. Ownership, be about the team, right? 1 Peter 2:9, but you are a chosen people, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a people belonging to God, that you may declare the praises of him who called you out of darkness into his wonderful light. You know, I am and some of you can say, I have lived the excuse thing. I've made so many excuses in my life. And again, it's been a major growth area for me of manning up, looking in the mirror every day, looking at the ways you haven't, you know, maybe been, whatever, all those different things. All right? The coolest thing is, and it was just at the church service today, it's all resolved. God has taken care of all those sins, all that guilt. It's such an awesome thing. Jesus died for us. It ain't just words. We're men and women of God, and make sure our kids just know that identity piece is so huge. And then the design, their design ideal, okay? Their design, the gifts that they have, huge. And then finally, you want to take that one? Go ahead, Coach. Thanks. Last one.
Sacrifice, Romans 12:1. Over your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. Or offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God.
I said it earlier, the hardest part about coaching, we know the challenges of the game, we know the challenges of the kids, we know the challenges of the family, all that stuff. The hardest part is coaching ourselves. And when you master that, you will impact more kids and more families and more, you win more games, all that stuff will come together when you really get that. I grabbed, this is God working here too. I've got, here's 1 year of, just all the different things going on. We can talk forever. I'm gonna keep this short, but practice plan. Practice plan. Practice plan. This is my practice plan. So this would be November, this is November 24th, so it's gonna be right before Thanksgiving. So you can see a couple things on top there. So our theme for the year was be strong in the Lord. And then this is a Buzz Williams here, but you fight for every inch, okay? You can't fix all the problems, right? But you can fight for 1 inch. And when you teach, and here's one of the things I would say, mastery of coaching is, most guys are gonna coach the 5 guys or the 2 guys or the 6 guys or the 7 they're gonna play. He said, hey, we're talking the Duke game, right? If you get a chance, watch Con play. That guy plays, Con Kneppel. Just watch how he plays, and he's so underrated in defense. Just so many different things that he does that they don't have any idea what he's 6 steps ahead of everybody out there most of the time. Fight for every inch, Teach, coach all the dudes, okay? Coach the guys that you think aren't gonna play or whatever, because a lot of those guys, especially at this level, man, you don't know who that is that's gonna make it. The guys who are talented now, the guys who are especially at this level, okay? So really, really make that your number 1 priority is to coach that whole team, coach them hard, prepare them for all those different situations. Our definition, their ability to recognize we deserve nothing. When we come to grips with that we don't deserve to be coaches, we don't deserve to be here tonight, we don't deserve any of that stuff. Henry Hill is in the Alcatraz, and they had him in the dungeon for 1,000 days. And then for 30 minutes, he got out into the sun for 30 minutes, and 1,000 days is 3 years. He was in that dungeon. And after he gets out, he's in like Alcatraz in the whatever regular cell, and the guy's like, his counselor or whatever is like, man, I really feel sorry for what you. And he looks at him, he says, man, this is paradise. Alcatraz cell. Our blessings, the blessings we have are so many. Teach your kids that. We can go through a whole practice. We're not going to do that, okay? I'm going to just say this. You can see the detail on each of these practices, okay? And one of the things, if you're ever familiar with Saxon math and how Saxon math was done, it would teach a lesson, right? And this is the way we've structured our basketball program. You teach, each day you're teaching one lesson, and then you're repeating and reviewing everything over and over again. Okay, so each of these pieces, okay, I'll just pick on sequence sequence is simply your fast break. And if you watch every NBA team now, what are they doing? They're going there, they got their guard, they run a post, you would say run it right to the 10 front right there, right? And then go to the sides or whatever. But everybody's doing the same thing, okay? But it's how fast is that happening? So we would work, I mean, how long would we work on that stuff, guys, right? Every day.
To the X.
And get to the X, get to the, and then using your floor, again, I don't want to get way in the weeds here, but using each of you. So this is the elbow, and I watch coach after coach. If you don't start here, what happens is you're gonna, point guard catches it here, and you get doubled right there, and then the other team gets the ball. Okay, we're gonna set the X's over there because I'll jump all over the place. But be really, really disciplined in your practices. Okay, that's the time you can really, a game. The game. I mean, a great coach is 4 points, 6 points, maybe if you can, right out of bounds play or, a little bit of here, a little bit of there. I'm trying as a coach to try to squeeze, where can I squeeze 2 points, 4 points, 6 points out of ATOs, and you know, how do you handle those, you know, all of that after halftime, you know? You know, like I said, my mentors, you know, I've flown over to Virginia Tech. I used to be, you know, when Buzz was here, you know, I would follow those guys, and then we had practice at 5 in the morning. I'd be there with my pen and paper and just taking notes. And there's a lot of places between here and Texas A&M, and there's a reason I go there, because, you know, they're gonna practice at early in the morning, and they ain't gonna be playing. Okay, they ain't gonna be playing. It's very intense, and I always learn a lot. So, all right, any questions you have? I know I could go on forever. I don't want to do that. So, anything on your heart?
I think something that I noticed coaching with you, never slow down, never wait, never, and right now I'm coaching 4th grade hoops here, but I'm also coaching Kettle Moraine Lutheran Junior Chargers, and it's 2 very different styles.
Yeah, amen, brother.
And I'm kind of caught right in the middle
Yeah.
right now, where I'm like,
That
all
is
right,
hard.
now I'm trying to coach 2 different styles, because I'm assistant coach
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
not my gym.
Yeah.
And I'm coming here to serve, but I don't know, I guess just what is your life of experience of slow down, teach plays at a young age? Because this 4th grade team at Kettle, very skilled.
Correct.
Very skilled.
Mm-hmm.
Have 6 offensive sets
Yes,
in
okay.
4th grade.
Yeah.
But come here and it's like,
Yeah.
just run. Just
Yeah.
go.
You know, no, it is. They're 2 different, and I'll put it this way: Marquette, Buzz Williams versus Bo at Wisconsin. They're not right, wrong. Okay, neither one of those is right or wrong. Okay, they are 2 different ways to play the game. Okay, and your assistant coach. I have a hard time being an assistant. I'm just gonna say that, but it just is. But that's important, you know. And I would maximize. There isn't a right and wrong. I'll just say, when I was coaching Fort Atkinson, we ran, you know, I had 35 different plays. We did a lot of different things. Very different than what we did here, and different than what I did at the high school at Hope. But yeah, philosophy. And so you have control on one of those, right?
So assistant, no.
You're assistant on
4th grade, both locations.
Yeah. Then you got to still go by what the depending on how much control they're giving you or whatever. But it's the head coach, okay, and be a great teammate like you were for me. I mean, you're an incredible, you know, teammate that way. Do that. You can have those kind of conversations.
And I guess maybe my question is,
Yeah.
what I've realized more is just age. Like coaching 7th and 8th grade,
Yeah.
99% of those guys wanted to be in the gym and wanted to put
Yeah.
in the work. 4th grade is
Yeah.
like first experience of organized sports.
Yeah.
It's like half of them are here because mom says you gotta be here.
Right.
And we got 2 teams practicing in the same gym, so it's like
Yeah.
just a whole different
Yeah.
level and experience right now that I'm trying to navigate. How do I get their attention? How do we get the 1 or 2 lessons through while still moving the program
Yeah,
forward
I mean,
to see that growth?
Yeah, wherever you have control of that, Josh, you want to make sure that you are having as little of you talking and as much of them moving, and then coach on the fly, you know, get so that thing is, that's probably the biggest mistake I see coaches make, is we're talking way too much. I mean, I'll blabber, but, and then actually, when I really want to say something, that is almost more power. But anything you can do to get those lines, more balls, so there's less downtime. That would be my biggest thing for you. And you know, if you think about whatever, multiple baskets. I mean, we practice downstairs. We practice outside. Whatever, right? It's not even about the gym necessarily, but maximize that space and time and try to get as many of those kids involved, as many touches and many. I'll give you just one other. I'm switching just one other thing here. When your guys get on the court, this is a little bit of one of my whatever, but when they come through that door, like, we ain't walking, okay? That thing, we're on, okay? We're on. From the time so it starts with jump rope into ball handling, into, your shots, and just a couple quick things. You want to really help kids, get them jump roping, okay? 30 seconds is fine, okay? They got 30 seconds to a minute, but 30 seconds going hard with a jump rope. Or you don't have a jump rope, do any of the things Seth's got. Any of that stuff is good, okay? Get them moving. And then the you see me score stuff. You ready? The you see me score. So it's the 5 things we always would do. And 2:18 this morning, I was up by 4 o'clock. I ran a mile. 5 o'clock, I'm in the gym getting my 100 shots in. And I'm starting off. What's the first drill you're going to do when you come into the gym? What are you going to teach the kids? What's the first one? Micans, right? Micans. Inside foot. Okay? Michael Jordan's George Mikan, all right? And have them make 20, okay? Regardless of whether they're 3rd grade, if they're kindergartners, okay, get a smaller hoop, do Mikans, okay? Then you have them take their off, and this one right here. You just get your feet right underneath you, toes toward the target. You see me saying, all you're doing is right here, and then just pushing straight up, elbow above the eye, okay? 5 of those. I don't care if they're 5. You know, when you go to an NBA clinic, you know what they're doing? This right here, okay? Then it's offhand on, okay? Then what am I missing, guys? Okay, here, offhand on. Then you see me score, then spin the ball, pocket, lift, shot, okay? And then go into free throws, and then work into we call them racks, but work the different spots around the basket. But that's a really simple thing you can do, okay? That will improve your kid's skill, okay? All on a big level, okay? You're getting ball handling, you're getting defense, you're getting the layups, free throws, and form shooting, okay? You better cut me off, or I'll just keep going, brother. I'm just warming up, y'all, and I gotta go to bed, so.
Yeah, you can do that.
Got a big day tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah,
Thank you to you for being here. And like I was just kidding, but I don't think, if this was something that you found valuable and things that we can still learn from, I think he was really just getting started. We can look to have another time, and I know like your stuff about knowledge of the game and the rules and just like how to apply that, and like we had to start having questions about like that kind of stuff. So if this is something that would be in demand for you, we can look into doing another one of these for those that aren't here, or to keep expanding into it so that we can just I say that some of you have 4 weeks left in the season, just 4 weeks left. Some of you have 6, some of you have 7, and it's all gonna happen at once. So like, don't overwhelm yourself with like all this stuff that's going on. Like, take it as you can handle it as we go. But these opportunities to learn and get better is like, that's what we're trying to do. And we're trying to like grow the program in like the way that's scalable, the way that's like palatable, and that just helps everybody, starting with you down into the kids, into our families, using basketball. So thank you for your time. Make sure you grab something else on your way out. And we're back in school in like 2 days, so looking forward to that. Thanks, have a great night.
And I'm happy to, let me know if you want me to come to a practice. Be happy to work with you guys.
Yeah, man, you gotta jump in more practice. You in there.